So recently I have been rewatching Boy Meets World, and if you know, then you know, but some of the actors from Boy Meets World have a podcast called Pod Meets World, where basically they recap an episode each week and they have guest stars from the show on their podcast to talk about like the episodes or just to talk about Boy Meets World in general. And while rewatching this show, I have come to a conclusion, a couple of conclusions actually. Cory Matthews is very irritating, and the romanticization, yeah, Cory and Topanga makes me so annoyed, and I'll explain why. So first, Cory Matthews. I think the reason why growing up I felt a kindred spirit kind of with Cory Matthews was not because I actually related to him in any way, but because I grew up in a suburb where I saw and knew people like Cory Matthews in my school, in my town. Um, and so I knew people like him, right? And so I was like, okay, you're definitely representing, the people in my suburbs, right? Those white kids who are just these average Joes, who are just like these average kids who don't really have anything special about them. Nothing's really going on, but they just live in their little fantasy world of, they are, this white middle class family. I don't know. And with Cory, he was always the middle child of the family. Not that that even matters after a certain point in the show because they don't really even focus on that. But at the beginning, they focused on that a lot, especially in the first season and possibly second. They talked about him being a middle child a lot and how that impacted him. And that was basically the whole premise of Boy Meets World originally. It wasn't until the story started to get more heavy into Sean Hunter. Now, Sean Hunter, to me, is more of the main character of Boy Meets World than Cory Matthews. And I say that because his storylines were so much more compelling, they were so much more lively, and they were so much more stakes. There were so many stakes. And also, it just felt like, they gave more storylines to Sean Hunter than they did to Cory after a while because they knew that the audience probably was going to want to see more of Sean in what he was dealing with as a, child of, the trailer park whose, parents have issues and dad basically leaves him and he has to live with his teacher and he doesn't always have the most and he's had to live by the, seat of his pants his whole life and he has all these street smarts and all that stuff, right? And so they focus on him a lot. And I'm on season 5 right now, and I just finished watching an episode of Boy Meets World where basically they had this work study program where Cory and Sean were working at this, I don't know, I think it's a marketing firm, and basically they worked in the mailroom. But they all wanted to go up the ranks so they could be higher up in the ranking of this, company. And so eventually Sean, with his charm and charisma and his street smarts, ends up ranking higher in the ladder than Cory. And Cory gets really mad about it because Cory's like, Sean's not supposed to have this glorious, glamorous job. Sean is supposed to be, the kid who's always down on his luck and the kid that I always have to bail out on everything. He's not supposed to be the one that actually gets, any props or, goes higher in the world than I do, right? And the whole time he's complaining and acting like a total ass. And it's like, Cory, you have had this cushy, beautiful life your entire life. This middle-class, cushy life. Sean hasn't had that growing up. He had to deal with so much hurt and turmoil and just a lot of heavy stuff. And you haven't had to deal with that. So Sean gets a leg up in the workplace. Okay? Like, get over yourself and stop acting so narcissistic and acting like Sean can't have a leg up, right? Because it's ridiculous and disrespectful and awful that you think about that way about your friend. You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to be together as friends, right? But you're clearly not, because you clearly don't like your friend because you're very mean to him when he even rises 2% above what you think he's supposed to, right? And also, you are horrible when it comes to helping your friend out with his relationships. And that's not only when it comes to when Sean finally found the purse that he thought was this other girl's but ended up being Angela's, his love, Sean. And he basically, fell in love with her. But you were awful during the entire process of that. You didn't help very much. You were not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a friend. You were just not good at it, right? And then when you're in college and Sean and Angela break up, you're awful about it, right? Because Sean has all this poetry that he wrote about Angela. And he basically makes Sean perform this poetry. And I think he ends up telling Angela that the poetry is about her or something like that, or she figures it out. And she storms out. And Sean gets royally pissed off at Cory about it, as he should, because Cory is horrible when it comes to being a good friend to Sean. It's ridiculous. And, he's a terrible friend to Sean. He's not the best brother to Eric, even though Eric really wasn't there for Cory either, but that's big brother stuff, when you're older than your younger brother, it's easy for you to just overlook him a lot. But, after a while, it became the Cory Matthews show more, because Eric didn't really have a lot of friends. And then it started to feel like you were ignoring Eric a lot, and it just became the Cory Matthews show. And obviously, I know this is Boy Meets World. This is based on Cory Matthews. I still think that Cory should have been a better friend. Cory should have been a better brother. And Cory just should have been better. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Now, when it comes to Cory and Topanga's relationship, I just feel like there wasn't really much going for them, because obviously people always go back to when Cory decided to cheat on Topanga with Lauren in season 5 with the cabin. But this goes all the way back to season 2 or 3 when they first start dating. By season 3, when they are dating fully, there's just nothing there. They don't have, time together where we get to know each other more. They don't have this, I don't even know. It's just, weird, because it's, they don't have this immediate spark that I think that they would have. They make it out to seem like Cory and Topanga are supposed to have this immediate chemistry spark by season 1. And while season 1 is really cute for the both of them, I personally believe that Cory and Topanga should have dated more before they actually became a couple, because I think that would have helped along the way. But also, I also believe that Cory just wasn't there for Topanga, really at all. Season 4, they have A Long Walk to Pittsburgh, which is the episode where Topanga moves away to Pittsburgh with her family, but then she ends up running away and going to be with the Matthews, and then her aunt ends up letting her live in Philadelphia with them. So that's cool. But what's not cool is that Cory didn't even feel like he was really, he did for a second, because he was all, oh, I love you and I've loved you since I was a baby and all of these things and all these nice ways to say that I love you and all this stuff, right? But then a whole season later, he cheats on her. And then in season 7, when they're already married, Cory decides that because Topanga's doing better than him when it comes to her job, he's going to just lash out on her. And it becomes one of the hugest fights I've ever seen Cory and Topanga have ever. And it's was this couple even meant for each other in the first place? Because it feels like they were not. And, Boy Meets World has this way of saying that, Cory and Topanga are the forever couple, right? Which makes me just laugh. And not even just because of Sean and Angela being the forever couple and them having more in common and them being actually soulmates. But Cory cheats on Topanga more often than it's even funny. And it just feels like they don't have chemistry. She doesn't really have a lot of autonomy in the relationship. And Cory just is Cory because he's annoying and it's irritating, right? So, yeah, I don't know, but Cory is just the problem of Boy Meets World. And when I was growing up, I didn't really see it because I was young, but I'm seeing it now, and he's a red flag for sure.